Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, Turbo is dumping, but this should not come as a surprise as we did expect pullbacks and some kind of manipulation before the big bang. Okay, so we've been talking about on this channel how Turbo has been overall kind of ranging, but also going down very, very slowly. And it all started, roughly a couple weeks ago already when we broke this huge daily, trend line, right? We can see, although we tried to make multiple attempts to go up higher, we had this huge break of structure once again, right? Saying, hey, this trend line will be respected. And then we can see for multiple days, right? I even said it before. Like I remember when there was just 2 or 3 of these candles printed. I was like, guys, this is not bullish at all. This is not bullish at all. And we can see for multiple days we have been rejecting, and we finally sold off. Even on the 4-hour time frame, we can see high, lower high, and you guessed it, lower high, right? So we finally broke to the downside, which was expected because I expected something like Bitcoin to be selling off. Now, I do have some potential trade ideas. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to take them because I am going to bed right after I make this video. But look, ladies and gentlemen, right? If we look at Bitcoin, this is correlated with Turbo, right? A couple days ago, we talked about how, look, man, we have been printing a lower high, right? We had this high up here, right? We had a high, a lower high. We had this low and this low that were relevant, right? And then like the last, day or so, we smashed through this low. And at this current this current time, we do have, boom, a double bottom, but this is technically also it's a double bottom, but it's also a lower low than this low, right? I mean, just logically speaking, like it's literally lower. So we can see we are making a staircase downwards, right? Boom, 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 right? Now there is a potential pullback for Bitcoin that I do expect to happen. If it does not happen now, then it's probably going to be invalidated. But I think there's a very, very high chance, since we do have a double bottom close and we do have like this order block, I do think Bitcoin will come down a couple $100 more to then shoot up higher to then slam even lower. Yes, you got that right. So, the reason why I'm telling you this is because this is going to correlate to Turbo, which we'll also dive into just a second. So I believe something like this is going to happen most likely before we go up. There's also a decent chance that we might get a big wick one day and then see a huge change of momentum and then go up. But more or less, I expect something like this. Okay. So if that's going to happen, right? If overall Bitcoin does go down an extra, 2.5% potentially to 4%, that means Turbo is probably going to go down an additional 10 to 20%, right? Remember, meme coins do suffer a lot more. Altcoins in general suffer, but meme coins suffer even more than your regular altcoin. So if we were looking at that, I mean, 12% is just this bottom here. I do genuinely think we will be taking this out. Now, unless global liquidity is irrelevant for some damn reason, right, then there is a chance we come back to these bottoms. But I really do not think so. It really should not be happening because we are expecting global liquidity to hit the markets. So I think worst case scenario, we will be sweeping out the 0.004, right? Classic manipulation that I did draw out a couple of videos ago, right? I expected something like this to more or less happen and then go up. It was something like this, right? But yeah, this is on the cards. This is on the table. We called out, the 0.005 DCA, which is obviously decent, right? You could even buy now if you want a dollar cost average, but I do think Bitcoin is going to drop ultimately a couple thousand more. It would be really, really surprising if Bitcoin did hold, right? It did hold. Even then it would have to print, right, a higher high than this high currently, right? This high that we have over here, it would have to print. And that would just be a very weird structure, to be honest. I would never see anything like it. I do expect kind of something like the way we had it over here, right? Where we're consistently printing lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Now the thing is, we never were printing lower lows during this area. So that's the thing. Here we are printing lower lows, but overall, this is going to be a setup manipulation for Bitcoin to, like I said, shake us out and then explode, which again, Bitcoin goes down, Turbo is going to go down. Now, I'm not too worried, right? I'm not too worried. If we go actually to the weekly, don't know why I did that. Go to the global liquidity index, right? Change it again from yellow to blue because it just doesn't want to stay this damn color. Boom. All right, global liquidity at this current moment is down here, right? We talked about this for many, many times, so this should not be a surprise. 91 days, right? But after that, it's shooting up and then shooting up again. So, like I said, this should be the final manipulation. And Turbo, ladies and gentlemen, is also expected to follow, right? Turbo is also expected to follow, right? If we remove the drawings, right? Boom, 91 days. So this should be the last red candle. And then after that, we should start seeing a nice move to the upside, right? A nice move, especially by already, right? If you take it 91 days after, like next week is our 91-day green candle. If we take the top of this liquidity, that is going to be, roughly 2 weeks from now. So 1 to 2 weeks starting next week is going to be ultimately, Turbo probably being at 0.008. So I'm not worried. I'm really, really not worried. We've seen manipulation before where we take out certain liquidity, right? We take out certain liquidity, we pull back a little bit, and then we spring up, right? We have a big pullback, but then the weekly actually closes pretty well, and then we go up, right? The manipulation will always exist. Manipulation will always exist. It comes back down, it takes out an area, boom, and then goes up, right? We've seen manipulation will always exist of some sort. So this was not a surprise. This should not be a surprise if you do actually pay attention and listen to the videos. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, overall, it's going to be a great buying opportunity over the next days, a couple days. This is going to be out on Friday, which I am technically recording on Friday. I'm recording at like 2 a.m. My sleeping schedule got messed up because caffeine, but that's a whole different story. So yeah, probably now until I'd say maximum Tuesday, we should be getting like prime buying opportunities. The reason why I say possibly next week a little bit, because sometimes, the weekly candle may close like this on Sunday, right? And then Monday might go like this, sweep it, and then Tuesday's already like recovering, right? It's always going to take out the weekly candle. So if Turbo, for example, does close, let's say at this black line this week, then probably like the start of next week, it's still going to like sweep it very quickly, kind of like the way it did with Bitcoin, right? Kind of like the way it did with Bitcoin at the start of April, right? We talked about how April it's going to probably go down for a couple of days and then start recovering. I mean, that's literally what happened, right? But this time it's going to be on a much quicker scale. It won't take like 10 days. It's going to take, max 48 hours. So yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye. Portfolio reviews, economic and global updates and news, frequent up-to-date technical analysis, and a very supportive community. Sell and buy calls and trading education is provided. If that sounds good to you, now is the time to act. Once the markets start moving, there is no I should've, coulda, woulda. Now is the time. If you want to take things to another level, we have the blueprint that covers everything from A to Z in crypto that you need. No fluff, no bullshit, just the most important news, fundamentals, and technicals to have you succeed in these markets.